Hey, what's up? This is Seth Green, and you are listening to Somewhere in Vegas with Mark, and I am so hot, I would desperately like a glass of water. Please, please, give me some water.
This is Cindy Preston, and I'm with Mark on Somewhere in Vegas.
Hi, this is Melissa Peterman from CMT's The Singing Bee and the television show Reba. And I have to tell you, I just have to get it off my chest, I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi there. This is Faith Roscoe from General Hospital. You're listening to Mark on Somewhere in Vegas. And you better watch out. We know how to find you if you're not listening.
Hi, this is Shannon Egan from Whippet, and I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hey, this is Lee Allen Baker with Somewhere in Vegas, talking with Mark with a Q.
This is Courtney Cronin. You're listening to Somewhere in Vegas with your host, Mark, and I would make sure to listen every week because he's a sure bet.
Hey, this is the Money Man, Eddie Money. I got 2 tickets to Paradise, and it's, you know what? It's Somewhere in Vegas. And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Hi, this is Crystal Gale, and I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi, this is Terry Nunn from Berlin, and you're listening to Mark Somewhere in Vegas.
Hi, this is Miracle Laurie from Joss Whedon's Dollhouse. There are 3 flowers in a vase, and I'm listening to Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi, this is Erin Hill, and you are listening to Mark on Blog Talk Radio and Somewhere in Vegas. Mark is a great guy.
Hi, this is Sean Pulaski. I'm still trying to figure out Mark Pico's sexuality, but I know you're listening to Somewhere Live in Vegas.
Here you go, Mark. I'm sorry. I thought you were she. I'm sorry. Get out of the tent. Let's get out of here.
Hey, this is Lance and Anna from Free Radio. And Anna?
And you're listening to Somewhere in Vegas.
Yes.
My favorite.
You know, that's usually what happens with me. I go to Vegas and I get lost, and so I end up somewhere in Vegas.
Somewhere in Vegas.
But I just don't know where it is.
Not quite sure.
Yeah, word.
Get ready. It's going to be hot. It's in Vegas. Check out Mark. Be there or be square.
My guest at this time is a very talented singer and really coming from for a very musical family. And his new singles right now is Runaway. And you guys can check out his new album, Party, currently out right now. We have Hollis Jordan on with us right now. How you doing, Hollis?
Hey, how's it going today?
I'm doing good. You up in Detroit?
Yes, I'm here in Detroit. The weather is switching every single day. It's a little bit chilly today, but hopefully tomorrow we'll have our 70 degrees back.
No kidding. Down here, I think we got to 36 last night. So down here in Vegas, it's actually getting pretty cold as well. So yeah, the fall's starting to come in a little bit as well. I mean,
wow.
How are things out in Detroit? I mean, obviously a lot of kind of crazy things going on between COVID and the election. I mean, what's kind of the feeling right now out there in Detroit?
It's a mixture of a lot of different things, but for the most part, you got a lot of people that are protesting. A lot of people that are just, going about their business, living their regular lives. And, you also got a lot of people starting up new businesses and stuff. So it's a lot of different things going on down here, but it's pretty calm for the most part.
We've been seeing somewhat of a slow comeback the past couple of years in Detroit. There was a time where, the city was bankrupt and it was looking very, very bleak for Detroit. But now it seems like it's inching its way back. Can you tell me kind of your opinion about how the city is kind of evolving and kind of climbing back up into some successes?
Oh, absolutely. I used to live in a neighborhood called Midtown here in Detroit, college area. And over the past, I want to say maybe 4 years, I drive in that neighborhood, man, and they have brand new houses. And as a lot of people know, they just built a new arena, the Little Caesars Arena downtown. For a long time, the Detroit Pistons were playing hours away from Detroit in Auburn Hills. So they finally put the arena in downtown Detroit. But yeah, man, the city is making a huge comeback. They're fixing up places, that were just run down for so long. So it's looking really nice.
It's pivot a little bit towards Detroit and the idea, it has such a rich music history. Motown was out of Detroit. And just a lot of famous musicians out of the area as well. You're kind of almost following that tradition in terms of being a musician out in Detroit as well. You're related to Louis Armstrong, one of the greatest one of the greatest trumpeters, I should say, out there in the world. You have a cousin that's a really famous rapper as well. I mean, tell me a little bit about just living in a very talented city like Detroit, and that music heritage that you're kind of coming up from.
Oh man, it's amazing. So much inspiration around. Just like you said, having the foundation and the essence of Motown here in Detroit is a huge inspiration for me, and that's one of the things that I kind of purpose my career behind, is just really bringing back that feel good music, like Motown did. But yeah, it's great. The music scene down here is amazing. You have a lot of artists, but the thing is, there's no real outlets or opportunities for these artists to be able to, showcase their talent. And that's one of the initiatives that I've been taking as of recently, putting together opportunities for other artists to get, an opportunity to showcase what they have to offer.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, before COVID, here in Vegas, there are plenty of clubs. I mean, most of the clubs are either techno or R&B or rap, venues or whatever. Not a lot of rock and roll venues out here, although, there are a couple. But, the idea of a traditional club to be able to do that, to kind of do it more of an artificial R&B and rap kind of thing. There's not very many venues outside of, some of the major cities to be able to be a part of that as well. So it's interesting that you mentioned that, the opportunities that some of these talents see as well. Tell me a little bit about the area. I mean, tell me a little bit about Detroit and how, do we have like music venues there that, have regular support of local artists, or obviously your project is to try to get some of those local artists to have in a venue. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. It's a mixture of a lot of different things, but that's always been one of my main things, because when I started out, I mean, they've of course always had showcases and stuff like that, but I've always, I've done those a million times, and I wanted to move on to a new level, and I found that the venues, they're supportive, but there could be a little bit more support in regards to the local talent and giving people an opportunity to do business with them. But I just got a building myself, a new multimedia studio. We have a concert hall, and we're going to start doing those things that I said a lot of these people aren't doing. And that's giving these local acts an opportunity to showcase their talents in a live stage setting. But I wish there was more support on the independent side. Of course, the majors, they got all the spots locked down. But that's been my whole thing. Anytime there's some sort of void or there's a brick wall that, can't seem to be broken, I go and create my own opportunity to make those things happen.
Yeah, I know a lot of artists right now are actually turning to the internet to be able to do streams and to be able to perform in front of audiences that way. I mean, there's obviously, it's not like playing live in a club, but at least it's something to reach out to the fans as well. I mean, are you seeing that for a lot of artists like yourself out there in Detroit? And I mean, are we, it's going to be a while before I think we're going to be able to open up larger venues, or even, possibly have concerts where there's a decent amount of people. So is that something that you and the artists out there are kind of looking at?
But I've been doing the digital thing since COVID hit, and a lot of the artists kind of slept on the transition. They didn't really know what to do. A lot of them just, waiting around for things to open back up. But we've done festivals. Just a couple weeks ago, we did a festival called it's called the What the Fest in Pontiac, Michigan at the Crowfoot. And we had a huge production, but the thing is, there's no people there. So mainly my show is based off of crowd participation and interacting with the audience. So not having that element there was a little, challenging, but I think things will work out. Hopefully when things open back up, but that's why I said I'm creating an opportunity for artists. And I'm not only just thinking about myself, but I'm also thinking about people who really want this really bad. And we have a studio where we could facilitate all those needs. We have cameras and lights, everything that can accompany the artists and them doing, their work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's important to have some of that input. I mean, even through social media, that you're probably getting a little bit of input in terms of your music as well. I mean, it's kind of important to kind of gauge where things are, and if certain things are working, certain things are not. So hopefully that's going to be something that this gives you an opportunity for other artists like yourself to have that opportunity to kind of gauge what the audience is liking and all that as well. So great job for you on that.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about how you started and how you became a singer. Tell me a little bit about some of your history and how that kind of came about.
Yeah, so I'm the youngest of 7 children. My mom was a single mother, and basically her thing was to make sure that we stayed out of trouble and that we made something of ourselves in this lifetime. And I can remember being about 7 or 8 years old and singing in the shower or around the house, and I knew I had something, but I just didn't know what it was. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand it. And I wouldn't let anybody hear me singing or anything because I just didn't know what to think of it. So, I mean, we had it really bad. I grew up in poverty, and I can remember we were living in a homeless shelter at the time, and they were hosting like a carnival or something. My mom asked me to be a part of it, and this was my time to let everybody hear what I had been doing in private. So I went up and I sung, and I was just super not confident and ended up winning that competition. And from that point on, my mom was like, wow, I didn't know that you could do this. I didn't know that you had this. So she invested a lot of time and money into helping me, get better with my craft. And then over the years, she got me into a lot of different programs and organizations. I ended up becoming the lead singer of a group called God's Little Soldiers. I was singing gospel music. That was a whole nother experience because it was like, a big deal. I got my first record deal at the age of 10 years old, and I traveled with that group. We won multiple awards, been nominated for multiple awards, and, we traveled the country. And then after that, I began to kind of want to be more involved with the business side of the music and really understand what I was, getting myself into, and if I really wanted to do this with my life. And I just began to study and practice day in and day out. And this went on for years. And I just attempted to do what I knew best. And a lot of time it wasn't working out for me. I just kind of gave up after a while, honestly. And then years later, my mom asked me, you should go on the street and sing. And I looked at it in a very negative light, and I just figured it was panhandling. But nonetheless, I decided to go out and do it. I can remember my first time doing it. There was no one in sight, like nobody was in sight. And I was downtown Detroit at the time. And I started singing 5-10 minutes into the set. All of these people just started crowding around, and it was just a huge crowd. This is prior to COVID. This was last summer. That changed my life completely. For one, it gave me confidence that I was actually good at what I was doing, and that, people appreciated it. And a lot of times they would go into their pockets and show their appreciation. And I was like, this is it. I'm going all the way in. And actually, if I had never took that leap of faith, I wouldn't even be sitting here speaking with you. I met my manager through that process, both of my managers through that process. I've gained so many followers and fans, and here we are today, 1 year later, and I have my new record, Runaway, out. So it's been an amazing journey.
Yeah, going back to the gospel choir. I mean, what was it like for you? I mean, you said that you kind of lacked confidence, and then you were a part of a gospel choir, and obviously to have a lot of backup singers basically behind you, kind of gaining you a little bit more confidence. But then going back to basically singing on your own, kind of what was that process like? I mean, was it a situation where you kind of did lose a little confidence at first, just not having anybody to kind of back you up, or was it just a, something kind of natural that kind of kicked in to get, maybe you became a little bit braver once you kind of left the gospel choir?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what it was. So when I was singing with the choir, we had 3 lead singers, and the rest of the guys, they backed us up. that was fine for me. But then what started to happen over time, I sung with them maybe 4 or 5 years, you know, the lead